Hey, everybody. This is Phil Galfond for once.com. Today, we're going to look at my flop Cbet opportunities from my match against Veni. I chose these hands from the month of March, mainly because in April, there were challenge-related strategic implications that would change kind of the advice that I give. But I wanted to go later in the challenge because I was playing worse at the beginning of the challenge, and I don't mind showing you my bad play. But I wanted to I wanted to evaluate, actually, out of curiosity, how well I was doing at this point in the challenge, because I thought I was playing well, but it's been a long time, and I wonder if my strategy was not as good as I thought. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're just going to talk about flop and then move on quickly. This is, I should have clarified. So these are flop Cbet opportunities on dynamic boards. We'll look at other boards soon enough. Kind of interesting spot right away here with a hand that is, like a decent, almost a value bet, maybe a reasonable value bet. I think it's just a check, but wouldn't shock me because, again, on these rainbow boards, your thresholds for value go down. I think it's just very slightly too weak to bet for value and has a lot of playability when checked back. So I like checking back. I went with half pot, which I don't think I was using as a sizing on these dynamic boards, but maybe we'll see soon enough. This would have been the first hand of a session, so I don't know if I'm getting my table set up and misclicked or what the case is, but I go with 3/4 or 70% or something like that. If I am using half pot as a sizing, this kind of probably becomes a value bet, but I don't know why I did that. I face check raise, I call, but we're just going to move on, even though it's kind of a cliffhanger. Easy check here with a hand that's not going to bluff multiple streets, a hand that's not going to value bet multiple streets. Clear check. Interesting spot. So future blockers, nut backdoor flush draw, second nut gut shot. I think I like betting. If I bet this flop and the turn is like a jack, I just give up and occasionally, but pretty rarely, win against a 3. If the turn is a deuce or 7, I keep bluffing. And if the turn is a heart, I don't know, maybe an overcard heart, I keep betting, but maybe not. So I like the bet. Good to see. Second nut gut shot, second nut flush draw, nut gut shot. Got a backdoor straight draw as well. I think it'd be close without the backdoor straight draw. I'd probably lean towards betting, but with the backdoor straight draw, I like betting for sure. No board interaction, no turns I want to barrel. This is just a clear check. So this hand, I think, is a check. With just the 10 of spades, I would lean towards betting this hand. One category of hand that we didn't get into in the vision video is board pair plus pocket pair, which is oftentimes a good kind of semi-bluff hand because you have, your 2 set outs plus your 2 trips outs, and some good board blocking interaction. But here, because the board contains a flush draw, I want to have that flush blocker specifically with my 10 because it gives me the extra out for effectively the nuts. So I like checking this hand, but with the 10 of spades, I would bet. Don't know if that's solver approved or not. It's close enough. Here, just check pretty clearly. So this is interesting. I have a hand that would normally check, except for the fact that I have 3 diamonds, which makes me slightly more interested in betting. Diamond blockers are very effective here because there are no straight draws present. So the only hands continuing are made hands and then flush draws. So I block made hands. I block flush draws. I think I like betting. Cool. Very weak 10-7. My 5 blockers don't help me too much here. So, and this is a very dynamic board. So I like checking. Good. So far, so good. Very dry board. Backdoor straight draws. Weak backdoor flush draw. 9 blocker, which is kind of nice for like on the turn 10 to keep betting because I turn a double gut shot and I have a 9 blocker. I think this is a check, but I would not hate a bet. It's fine. Beautiful pre-flop hand. So I flop top pair, second nut gut shot, 2 backdoor flush draws. With a nut gut shot, this would be a super clear bet. With this hand, I lean towards betting because it's still just like enough very good turns and enough runouts on which I want to build a big pot. But I think it's a little bit close. Check is okay. You can use, it's easy to get caught up in using backdoor flush draw logic. Like I could say, okay, well, I want to bet because I have backdoor flush draws. And so, I want to have a bigger pot when a flush hits. But also you could say, oh, I want to check because there are now so many turns that I can very comfortably defend on, maybe some I can raise on when I have these backdoor flush draws. I think with top pair, the arguments lean more towards betting. Whereas with second pair or bottom pair or something, it's more, they lean me more towards checking because then I actually struggle to defend turns against probes without the backdoor flush draws. But with top pair and second nut gut shot, I don't need a backdoor flush draw to defend most turns. Oh, whoops, we're not seeing a turn. Spicy turn though. I think this is just a check. It's just too weak. And the board is relatively strong. Clear check here. No board interaction. Nut gut shot, jack of spades. I lean towards betting this. Okay, so top and bottom. There is a flush draw present. There is a straight draw present, but the straight draw is kind of rare. I have a 10 of diamonds. I lean towards checking this. But you know what? I think I lean towards betting because on a queen, a jack, or a 10, all offsuit, of course, I can keep betting. And then I can bet a lot of rivers after that. So I think I like betting this hand. It's just strong enough with the like Broadway cards. I don't know what to call that. I mean, it's backdoor straight draw, but also like, top 2 pair outs. This is supposed to be a fold pre-flop, but I was playing loose intentionally, which I think mostly hurt me in the match, to be honest. Jack high flush draw, backdoor straight draw, bottom pair. I like checking this. I think it's just slightly king high flush draw. I'd bet it probably. Open ender to the 10 blind. I don't know. I like checking this hand. It's just not strong enough of a draw to start betting, and I'm not going to want to keep betting many turns after betting flop. Clear check. Nothing to consider. I think pretty clear check. I mean, I have a lot of good turns, but they're not turns that I'm like, there are not a lot of turns. Basically, I hate to get check raised with this hand because I have to fold away equity. I don't block that many continuing hands, block some. And there are a lot of turns on which I turn top pair, and it's like, okay, so on an offsuit queen, I have a gut shot, a top pair, and jack high flush draw. Do I really want to pot turn after betting flop big? Yeah, I guess. But it's like, it's not really a bluff. It's not really a value bet. So I think that this is a hand that turns a lot of hands that want to delay Cbet, potentially even raise a probe or call a probe, but not a lot of hands that want to Cbet turn after betting flop. And it's important to think about when you have different types of, with all types of hands. If I hit the cards that I want to hit, will I be happy or sad that I bet the flop? And happy or sad is maybe the wrong way to put it, because usually if you're picking your turn cards and river cards, you'll be happy. But my point is, like, when I have a jack high flush draw here and the turn's a diamond, do I want to have narrowed his range or do I not want to have? And I think I don't want to have. And similarly, like I talked about on queen, on a jack, on a 9, these are all cards where I can keep betting, but it's not like, it's kind of a purposeless turn bet, or like just not a high EV turn bet compared to checking. So I like checking this in. So rainbow board, there are some straight draws. So compared to the queen 9 deuce rainbow we looked at last time, this has more straight draws, more open enders. But second set, backdoor flush draw, just very clear bet. You're betting most sets. So here, pair, nut flush draw, non-nut gut shot. It's just enough to bet. I think, this hand without a pair would be a check. Good. And nut gut shot. I mean, the 9 is a massive turn for us. Couple of overcards. I mean, I think you bet most hands like this. I wouldn't mind checking. But actually, I think you don't have to fold to a raise if he's using a reasonable raise sizing after betting. So I lean towards betting. As far as like which straight draws, which 7-8 hands I would bet and check, I would check a lot of 6, 7, 8. I would bet a lot of 10, 7, 8. Do 7, 8, kind of whatever. Air plus 7, 8. I guess I lean towards betting. Ended up checking. That's totally fine. Actually, so as I'm saying that, I forget. I remember at this time in the match, I had like very specific structure. I had a more specific structured strategy of like which gut shots I'm betting and which I'm checking. But since then, I play a lot more, not more exploitatively, but more exploitatively. And I kind of forgot my clear structure. And the point of those, by the way, that if that sounds like a really bad thing that I've forgotten that, it doesn't really make a big difference. And the strategy that I had in mind is not the solver strategy. It was just, I was trying to get kind of a strategy together that I could execute as I was relearning the game effectively. And like I have talked about and will talk about more, you don't need to execute the solver strategy. You just need to have board coverage and like construct a range that is kind of accomplishing the things that the solver's range accomplishes as well. All right, so top and bottom on a rainbow board. You're betting most top 2, probably betting a good portion of top and bottom. This has the 5 undercard, which is bad. It has nut backdoor flush draw, which is good. Has the ace, which is good. I lean towards betting, but check is okay. Beautiful pre-flop hand, easy check on the flop. Again, like if I turn any of these cards, I don't want to keep betting, and I'm not going to be that thrilled that I bet the flop. Like just check back. And then now, and also if the turn is a 9 or lower, or especially 7 or lower, or 8 or lower, let's say, my hand's terrible. So can happily fold to a probe on those turns. Mid pair, non-nut gut shot, 10 blocker, 2 backdoor flush draws. I lean towards a check. As there are not a lot of turns I want to keep barreling. There are a lot of turns I can call and then value bet river. So check. It's good. I think this is a clear check. One mistake that a lot of people make, and this is more problematic on, let's say, a king high board or an ace high board, is that they just bet 100% of their top pair plus flush draw when the top pair is high, because then they're like, well, king high, top pair of kings plus king high flush draw is just like a super strong hand. So just always bet, but you need to check some, and the sum that you choose are the weakest ones. And so this is a very weak queen high flush draw hand. So clear check. And the reason it's less important on this board is because I will check some ace high and king high flush draws, but sometimes like the board runs out king of diamonds, ace of diamonds. And then oftentimes on the king high flop, the board runs out ace of diamonds, and then you don't have any nut flush draws or nut flushes after you've checked. Backdoor straight draw. I think it's just a check. Yeah. Whoops, we're not getting into turns. I'm curious as well, guys. It's fun to look at turns. Okay, so open ender. I have a diamond. I have a backdoor straight draw. I lean towards betting this with a diamond, checking without, basically. And this is a nut open ender, so all outs are to the nuts. Bottom pair, nothing. Backdoor flush draw. I don't have a very strong feeling here. I guess I lean check, but I wouldn't hate a bet here. Cool. And the reason for that is like this board, it's not a very dynamic board, even though there is a flush draw. It's not a very draw heavy board. My hand, well, basically, you know what? I think I like a check. I don't like this bet. It's a very comfortable bet because you're going to have to fold your equity on a lot of turns. And I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking is even on a club turn, now I face a bet, I call, but it's not super comfortable. I don't know. It's not a high EV spot. I don't know. Just check, and it's okay to lose a pot. It's an important thing to remind yourself of. Here, clear check, no board interaction. Here, clear check, no turns I want to barrel effectively. Here we go. Mostly betting king plus diamonds. And unlike the example I gave on the queen of diamonds board and with like king of diamonds, you know, it's not the same thing of, you know, making sure that you check back king plus diamonds or making sure that you check back ace plus diamonds, because you're checking back king, you're checking back ace, you're checking back king high diamonds, you're checking back ace high diamonds. Just not when you have both of them. So clear bet for value, clear call against the raise. So we do want some king of hearts hands in our betting range. Although that said, a lot of king X heart hands check. So like most of our nut flush draws check here, I think. Or maybe not most. Yeah, maybe most. And so most of our king X with the king of hearts can check as well. And, you know, if we have a set plus flush draw, if we have, you know, king, queen, 10 plus nut flush draw, we're betting those hands. But this is not a board on which we're betting all of our, or most of our, we're really incentivized to bet most of our king high flush draws. So I'm less concerned about making sure I get a lot of king of hearts dry into my betting range. So I think I lean towards checking. I lean towards checking. Nut gut shot, 5 of clubs, some backdoor stuff, I guess. I lean towards betting, but I mean, you need to mix some of these in your checking range, but usually I just use the club to randomize. Clear check here, double gut shot, but 10's it's not a value bet, and it's not a bluff. Top set, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. I mean, you're just betting most top sets, and this is good enough. You do check. Actually, you rarely check your top sets. You could probably get away with never checking top set. Oh yeah, sorry. On dynamic boards, you're checking the ones that are, you're only checking top sets that are crushing. I'm thinking of other sets. Very clear bet. Sorry for the brain fart. That was a clear check. And this is, I think, a clear check. It's too weak. Clear check. No club in my hand. We need some queen jack in our check back range. And you'll notice, like, I think a lot of people might watch this and be like, oh, but you're checking back all these, like, such a weak range of hands. Yeah, you're supposed to check back kind of weak hands. And then you mix in, this is a perfect example, hands like this for board coverage, because it's a very weak top 2 pair. And you check back, you know, your strongest top sets, and you can turn a lot of cards. In PLO compared to no limit, the changes of the board change things a lot more, I guess, because for obvious reasons, I don't need to get into that. Whoops, we're not seeing turns. Here we have air, we have the queen, and we have 2 backdoor flush draws and a backdoor straight draw. I like betting this hand, barreling off when the queen blocker becomes useful. You can also, like, we have good barrels on the deuce of clubs and spades. On the 3, so we block the straight and we turn a straight draw. On the 7, we turn the wrap. So I like going ahead and starting to bet with this. You can check this hand. One thing about backdoor flush draws is when you do have a lower backdoor flush draw, I like that. That makes me lean slightly towards betting, because I can fold out higher backdoor flush draws and kind of clear up that equity. So I did bet. Cool. So open a very pretty hand, flop middle pair, open ender. This is just a clear check. I would bet this hand with a jack instead of a 10. But now it's just, you know, not enough value. I went for a bet. I mean, I do think betting some ace queen 9 hands is good, because queen 9 is often going to be checking, because it's not the, you know, the nut straight draw, or like not nuts on both sides of the straight draw. So when you have the ace, it's more reason to bet. I don't know. Maybe this is fine. I actually think my Cbet, I was a little more finely tuned with Cbet strategy back then than I am now. So maybe this is okay. Clear check, nothing going on. So here we have a strong bottom two pair. So we're going to bet. Open ender, we have the jack of spades. Here, this is kind of interesting. Two low backdoor flush draws, a lot of future blockers. I kind of like betting this, fold out 10x, like fold out over cards, sometimes get called by 7 or 4 and reach showdown. And then also you have some good barreling cards. And also you fold out higher backdoor flush draws sometimes as well. So I like that bet. Wrap, we're just basically always betting wraps. You're basically always betting wraps. I mean, if I'm sure the solver checks back a couple on very dynamic boards, but you can't go too wrong betting them. Backdoor straight draw, no heart. I tend to check this. I feel like against Venny, I was betting more weak hands like this because he was probing quite aggressively and I think slightly overfolding flop, if I remember correctly. So I think that betting this against him would be okay, but I generally check this back. Clear check, nothing going on. Clear bet, everything going on. Weak top pair. We tend to not bet weak top pair too often. It's a very comfortable bet to make. And I think it's not totally not solver approved. But I think we're probably supposed to check this. It feels very comfortable to bet and not face a turn probe on a lot of cards that are not very comfortable and, clear up your, basically protect your hand. But I don't think it's quite good enough to be worthy of protection. So yeah, good check, I think. Top pair, over pair plus top pair plus backdoor flush draw. I think I'm supposed to bet this. You're fine checking it as well. Clear bet, nut gut shot plus over pair on a rainbow board. Whereas on a two-tone board, like if this were a club, I think this hand becomes a lot closer and maybe is a check. Clear check back, nothing going on. And clear check back, nothing going on. I mean, king of diamonds blocker going on, but it's just not a hand that I want to keep betting multiple streets with. So this, on the other hand, I think ace jack, I beat jack X. My 2 10 outs are very strong. I have 2 ace outs to top 2 pair. Yet it does get kind of uncomfortable on a lot of turns facing and probe. So I like betting this hand. Looks like I was more disciplined. I mean, it might be a comfort bet, but I think it makes some sense. An easy check, nothing going on. Here, top pair, queen of diamonds, nut gut shot. I think this is just a bet. Without the queen of diamonds, probably check unless it was the queen of clubs, in which case I would bet. So, queen of spades, I would check. That's kind of how close it is. Me, mid pair, nut gut shot, some backdoor straight draws. So I think I'm always betting 10x plus 6-4, do 6-4, whatever, air 6-4. So mid pair 6-4, I think I do more checking. Yeah, I decided to bet. It's not the end of the world by any means. Open ender, 8 of spades. So some extra outs actually on the 7. If we straight over straight or, chop with him on the turn. I tend to check these back, dry open ender. Having a spade makes me want to bet slightly more. So maybe I bet with a spade. So we'll stop here. But that covers, between this and the previous video, that covers enough, I think, of flop Cbet opportunities and how to make those decisions on dynamic flops with a lot of spots and a lot of board textures to cover. So let's get into it.